I was thinking about the word agitated the other day because there was a dog who others thought seemed excited, and I thought he seemed agitated. And I realized that in using this word agitated in an effort to correct what I thought the wrongful perceptions were of these other people about this dog's behavior, this dog's overall manner, I realized the sliver of difference between those two words connotation-wise. Because a dog or a person who is excited and a dog or a person or a whatever who is agitated, well, in a lot of ways they look very similar, and yet the difference in connotation is crucial. Excitement sounds like a positive thing. You're excited for things that make you happy. You're agitated for things that make you anxious or that make you mad. So again, everything is in the shade of meaning there. And it made me recall a scene from the movie, one of the Hunger Games movies. I can't recall which one. There was some rather minor character who was in the movie for like 5 minutes or so, and he was like a police enforcer of the tyrant, the police state who rules this world. President Snow, that's his name, right? That just came back to me, and it was this brutal scene where for some reason he has this one character. I think it was PETA. There's another name that comes back to me, not to be confused with the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I think it's PEETA. One of the good-looking young men suitors to the female heroine, whose name I don't remember right now. Anyway, this police chief, this brutal police chief, sadistic guy, has PETA bound to a pillar, and he's whipping him, scourging him. And it was a scene that was very striking and even shocking. It recalled the scene in The Passion of the Christ, which is, of course, an even more brutal scene where Christ is scourged, and they tear whole chunks of skin out of his back with their cat of the nine-tail whips and stuff. And the reason I'm talking about this scene is that when asked why he's doing this, this police chief, this captain or whoever he is, says he's an agitator. And I remember it stuck with me to hear that word, agitator, because one man's activist is another man's agitator. What to use a contemporary example, what the demonstrators in Hong Kong right now look like to themselves and to people who are sympathetic to their cause. They look like like activists or demonstrators or some other word with a positive sounding connotation. To the Chinese Communist Party, they're agitators. And it's another one of those things where there's a really striking shift connotation wise, just with this change in wording. Now, why am I talking about this word agitate, agitated, agitator, all the different forms of this word? Well, it strikes me that today we are living in an age of agitation. We are living in an age in which it seems to me there is almost a full-on push to agitate us, to make us agitated, and to keep us agitated. It's almost a strategy. I'm tempted to say, without any definitive proof, of course, without just speculating, that this is some kind of strategy. There is a strange kind of appeal to becoming agitated and staying agitated, and I think people who try to sell products, whether it's YouTube videos, or whether it's which of course includes me, but also articles, anything you can find. The internet is, if you want to get agitated, the internet is the place to go, because there are so many sources, so many venues on the internet that are the ones that are covering contemporary issues from one point of view or another point of view. And it seems like their selling point is just to get you all worked up, to agitate you. And you can see it in the titles that they give, for example. And I know that titles are all about grabbing the reader, and getting him to come in and read what you've got to say, or if it's a video, to watch what you're going to say, what you're going to express. So of course, there's the part of it is just the, if it bleeds, it leads kind of mentality that you want headlines to be eye-catching and dramatic, and you want titles to be the same. You want to draw people in, and a way to do that is to feed on this energy, this agitation energy. But what makes me think that there might be more to all of this, more than just a cheap sales tactic, is an actual strategy employed by higher ups, by propagandists, by opinion shapers. I remember seeing, and this is a somewhat random memory, but it's relevant. I remember for some reason seeing this journal that was, or it was some kind of booklet that was put out by the Church of Scientology. And I don't remember if what it was about. Often what Scientology bangs on about is, things like why the medical establishment is wrong and evil because they employed electroshock therapy, or because they overprescribed drugs. And these are things, of course, these are legitimate points, but Scientology, of course, uses these legitimate points for their own nefarious ends, in my assessment. And of course, this is getting into cult and the CIA talk, which I began a couple days ago, and I'm going to continue. This is sort of a diversion into that territory again, because it's relevant. But this cover was so upsetting. There were all of these, it was something that I think was even being marketed to kids or to teenagers, and I really don't remember what it was about. But there was like angry faces. There was like a kid with tears running down his face while somebody else is just standing over him. And it struck me at the time, this was carefully cultivated. This is, the makers of this booklet, who were affiliated with the Church of Scientology. This was them very plainly appealing to the fears and the anxieties and the angers of the readership, drawing them in with this appeal to agitation. Now, I'll talk more about this in my next cults in the CIA video, But the Church of Scientology is not just, like I've said before, like the People's Temple, like Nexium, like many other cults that have existed through the years. There's massive establishment connections and high-level connections between these cults and influential peoples and institutions. So it seemed to me, my point is, it seemed to me that this was done intentionally, this cover, which I really wish if I had it, I would hold it up to you and show it to you. It was like there was something so, it really struck me as, well, it was extremely lurid, but there was, in a way, it crossed the line, because I remember it crossed the line in a particularly egregious way, because I remember this was a book that was geared towards young people, teenagers, and yet it was, there was something about the pictures, the way that they had these kids posed on this cover. It was almost like, pornographic in its appeal to the basest kind of emotions in us. It's obviously intentional. So what's my point in talking about all of this? Well, to me, it seems like, as I said, we live in an age of agitation, and it's ever so easy to get sucked in. To take a very contemporary example, there are a lot of videos now being put out on YouTube, and I'm coming across them on my feed, which talk about how the new revelations about Johnny Depp, and how he had been framed by his ex-wife Amber Heard as an abuser, but it turns out that all the evidence is pointing to that she was the abuser, and there are recorded conversations between the two of them which seem to show this dynamic, that she was the one who was violent towards him, and yet, as they say, gaslighted him and framed him as the abuser and herself as the victim of abuse. And there is so much that's outrageous and angering in what she did, apparently, that you see these videos with these titles that are just like, I mean, I agree that this was an instance of injustice, apparently, done to Johnny Depp, and I'm happy to see that it seems to be getting corrected. But, I would rather watch a video or read an article or, digest something informational that is about truth and enlightenment and setting the record straight, and less is about, this bitch, look at what this bitch did. Look at what she did to him. Isn't that just like a woman? I mean, I think there is something in the very dynamic of whoever came up with this stupid hashtag, believe all women. I mean, the idiocy of that and the backlash is almost, it's almost right there, embedded in the hashtag itself, because all, I mean, it's so absurd that all of any group should be believed. And yet this was the hashtag that was put out, and it's a very agitating notion that we have to believe that there's something about women generally that means that they must be believed in all cases. Not just that women should be believed generally, but that every single woman should be believed. And, of course, the inevitable, invariable response is believe none of them. Believe no woman. The truth is in the middle, just like the truth is about any other group. You know, there are liars. There are people who tell the truth, and there are liars in every group, among every demographic. But it suits those who want to see us agitated, who want to see us upset, who want to just keep us in this state of agitation. It suits them to frame things this way, as all or nothing. You know, this group can do no wrong. And then here's an instance of a member of this group doing very egregious wrong. And then the backlash, you know, the anger and the agitation. And it just keeps going on and on and on and recycling. And I would just say, I'm not usually in the business of giving advice, but I would say it would be a good idea to avoid anything, whether it's, you know, an article somewhere or a video posted somewhere or something else that's some kind of commentary on the current state of the culture, to avoid anything where it seems that the whole entire point of it is to get you worked up, to get you agitated. Because there is a flailing impotence to the state of agitation. And nothing good can come out of that state of flailing impotence. It seems like if anything breeds senseless violence, whether it's actual violence or self-directed violence or violence of the soul, if anything breeds those kinds of notions, it's this state of agitation. It's this initiating you into this state of agitation and keeping you there. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone who makes agitating videos or writes agitating articles is a representative of the of this nefarious cult-like establishment. I think a lot of them just probably do it as free agents, not really thinking about what they're doing, just because they're mad as hell about something, and they just want to go off about it. I don't see. I mean, people talk a lot about rants and ranting. Sometimes you just got to rant for a little while and get it out of your system. I've never felt better after I've ranted about something. I've always just felt deeper in the state of agitation, deeper in the state of upset. That's not the way out, okay? There are plenty of things that should piss you off. There are plenty of things that should anger you. There are plenty of injustices. There's so much absence of intellectual honesty, and it's all incredibly frustrating. But the way we have to approach this has to be not through the engagement of agitation that we are constantly being invited into. We have to reject that, and we have to address these things in a way that avoids that state, that intends to set the record straight, that intends to address what is wrong and to correct it, and to point out the flaws in it, and to point out the dishonesty in it, and so forth. But it has to be done for our own sake, for all of our sakes, if we want to avoid what I believe they're trying to steer us towards, which is some kind of civil war. I think it's necessary to avoid being pulled into this state. And I think this is such a serious I mean, this is serious as murder, and I use that metaphor advisedly here. It's very, very serious that we do this right now. So let me know what you think. My name's Andy Nowicki. You can find my author page, altrightnovelist.com, or also you can find me at lowstatusnovelist.blogspot.com.